seriously, is it worth spending thousands on university for a career in the creative field to get a degree that will it actually help you out? With the average being 64,000 Rand per year spent on university, which is set to increase to 107,000 Rand by 2025 and 165,000 Rand by 2030. That's in this decade. Is it really worth going to university for the creative industry? Well, I asked a few friends, and this is what they had to say. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the A1 with Moyin. I am so excited that you're joining me today because we've got quite the conversation for you. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome. It's great to have you. I hope you click on that subscribe button and on the like button. It helps with the algorithm, and you know how we all feel about the algorithm. So I am really excited about today's conversation. It stemmed from the previous videos that you may have seen. I had a wonderful conversation with Lesego Tlhabi, who is a TV presenter and actress, and it inspired today's video. Let's watch this clip.
Yeah, man, this journey has been so hard. Because I also had so many qualifications that I thought would make me the most desirable candidate in any space. I was like, and I got a student lurry whilst doing my advertising thing, and I got, I studied in New York and London. Oh my gosh, these people are going to clamor for me. Grips. No, no, they did not. They were just like, cool, everybody studied, ma'am. And then I realized that like in arts, it's actually what you know. There are a lot of people in the production space, on our set specifically, who've never gone to varsity. They just picked up a camera and started shooting and doing it. So I don't want to like shit on school, but I just don't think it's like the be all and end all that people make it. And I wish people wouldn't put so much pressure on varsity for a lot of things, because here it's about experience. Even in advertising, I won this student lurry thing. I was like, cool, everyone's gonna wanna hire me. And they were like, where's your portfolio? And I was like, well, I only did a short course. I have never worked in this industry. And they were like, well, girl. So really, it's what you know.
Yeah.
And who you know.
Yeah.
But not through school.
Okay. All right.
But stay in school at the same time. My message is confused.
Yeah, well,
if you are in school though, get a job or do the learnings, do the YouTube, get an internship. Like it's really about the experience.
Definitely gain experience and learn, but learning doesn't have to take the form of university.
That's the thing.
Yes, it doesn't have to take that form, because my come up was YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
And mine was Instagram. Nobody gave a about my degrees. Like I said, I'm sorry, I don't even know if I'm allowed to swear on the show, but I came with a CV stacked. And I also had worked with, gone to advertising agencies. Can I please get an internship? Can I please try it out? And after Kelz blew up, these same people that had said no to me just the year before were like, please, can we work with you? And I was like, I don't have new skills. So it's not about what I know school-wise. This is just because of who I was at the time. So yeah, I think social media is your mate. But if you're in the creative space, I honestly would advise like internships, experience.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, we wouldn't go that far.
I kind of would. Like it's just a waste. It's a waste, man. Do short courses, but I don't think anyone, like, I don't want to sell this because the kids are the future and blah, blah, blah. But like.
But I do think if you do go to varsity, there's certain relationships that can be helpful in varsity. They can be...
I think varsity helps you to think.
Yes.
And it helps you to, put things together in terms of research and in terms of doing, what is it called, a dissertation and things like that.
But it's not vital.
But I don't think in a creative space, because there's places like Boston, places like Vega, where I think they give you experiential learning. So maybe I wish varsity would change rather than saying it ain't shit, but like, I wish it was more training based with the education. I think in South Africa, everything is so books based. When I was in UCT and I was doing media studies, we only wrote our first article in third year, and we were supposed to be preparing for the real world. Whilst in London, everything is very practical as much as it is theory. So I think maybe varsity should change rather than like, don't go. Yeah.
So that conversation had me thinking, is it really worth getting a university degree in the 21st century for creative jobs? On average, according to IOL, an article written by Tamara, hold on, let me get this right. Tamara Mafilika wrote on IOL this year on the 24th of February 2021 that on average, the cost of university is 64,000 Rand per annum. That doesn't even include accommodation, feeding, or the items needed to build a portfolio that are often paired with creative jobs like fabric for fashion design or software for advertising and film and media. There's always extra costs with creative industries because you have to build a portfolio. And with the majority of Africans living below the middle class range, is this really beneficial? I even found out the cost in Nigeria because I am originally from Nigeria. So I gave my mom a call because I actually know how much she's paid for some of my cousins and what, that's family matter anyway. She said the cost of education, higher learning education, is more expensive. The fact that in Nigeria the prices are even higher is crazy to me. And on top of that, graduates are struggling to get jobs. So not only do you pay a hefty fee for a 3-year, 4-year diploma or degree, you then struggle to get a job, which obviously helps you to pay off your debt if you incur debt, which is likely for a majority of Africans at this point. So I started thinking, would I advise somebody to go to university if they wanted a career in the creative field? Now, before I tell you my thoughts, I decided to ask a few industry friends. So we're gonna hear from them today. Some through voice notes, some through messages that I'll read out. And then at the end, I will conclude and give my thoughts. And I want to know what you think in the comment section down below. So if you're enjoying this video so far, give this video a thumbs up. And I would really love to know what you think in the comment section down below. All right, let's get to the first person. First up, we have Dennis from the YouTube channel Defining. Now he, I know, went to university, got a great solid degree, I believe in engineering. I may be wrong. Dennis, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But this is what he had to say. I would suggest that young people experiment in the creative career before deciding to pursue it at school. Reason being, you think you know what you want to do in this industry, but once you're in it, you learn so much about the space and your interests often change. In addition, it will allow you to understand the harsh reality about the industry before you decide that it will be your main focus. I feel like that's solid advice because there are so many people in this creative field that studied fashion thinking they wanted to become fashion designers and then ended up being fashion buyers, fashion stylists. And there was just so much more than just actually owning your own fashion label. And talking about fashion, I actually know Jillian Poco, an incredible fashion designer. I love wearing her stuff. And this is what she had to say. She actually sent me a voice note, so hold up.
I feel like if someone wants to get into the fashion industry, studying fashion is a really good foundation because it opens up doors for so many possibilities within the industry. I would also suggest that anyone that's going into fashion, and like I said, it really depends. You can go into fashion marketing, you can go into buying, you can go into being a designer, you can be a pattern maker, you can be a creative director, you can be an art director, you can be a stylist, you can be a stylist assistant. There's so many different industries within fashion. And yeah, just studying fashion will definitely broaden your horizon. If you know for a fact that you absolutely do not want to like own a brand or make clothes, then, and maybe study and maybe do other things in fashion, then no, you don't have to study fashion. And there are a lot of people who love fashion and who have been able to start brands, but I can always tell when someone hasn't studied fashion and they start a brand. Like, you can always tell. I don't know what it is, but there's something that feels somewhat generic about their stuff, and they've just maybe added like a really cool sleeve and a cool print. You can definitely tell the difference between someone who studied fashion and understands pattern making, cutting, style, silhouettes and shapes, and someone who's just like, oh, I have really great ideas. We can tell that those people also have a really great business acumen because they understand their market. They might not be the most creative people. So yeah, it's a kind of, it really depends on which direction you're trying to go.
Okay, so Julia says, go to university if you want to become a fashion designer, if you want to own your own label, if you want to sell clothes, your own designed clothes to individuals. But as for the extras, fashion assistant, fashion buyer, all the other things, you don't really have to, according to her. And my sister, who works in fashion, she went to fashion school but isn't a fashion designer. She's a fashion writer. She's written for Vogue Arabia. She's written the cover story interviewing Jadena for the cover of GQ. She's written for brands like Woolworths, written fashion radio ads. When it comes to writing within the fashion industry, she's your girl. And this is what she had to say.
So would I recommend that someone go to university to study, to do what I do today? I absolutely would recommend a qualification in media and communications, something that is market relevant and kind of addresses culture. If you would want to do what I do today, which is writing. I write 360 about fashion and beauty. It's copy, it's content, it's features. I do a few things across like independent editorial and commercial marketing work. I studied fashion design. I didn't study media and communications, and that's part of why I would recommend it. I think I could have gotten further faster with that kind of qualification. If it's something that you have access to, I really would recommend it for a career where your core thing, you know that what you want to do long term is right. I was able to kind of forge my path based on my fashion knowledge from my fashion design qualification. Basically use that to specialize in my area. I did have a basic writing talent that I really worked at. I used the, open school of reading a lot of great work and reverse engineering what it was about it that made it good and made media tick, and trying to understand that in principle and apply it to my work. That's how I close the gap between my fashion design qualification and the skill that is actually required for what I do right now.
Okay, so far, still pro-university. Next, we have a friend of mine, Rambisem Da. You might know her from the YouTube channel Pop Culture. She's a content creator, but she's also a strategist, an incredible strategist. And I know that she recently paid off her student debt. So proud of her. So I was very curious to know what she had to say. And this is what she told me.
Honestly, I think there really is no one formula when it comes to creativity. So I've been in advertising. I am now in the marketing space. And obviously I'm also creative from a content producer perspective. So on the content production side, I've honestly learned on the go, and I did not study to create content. I did not study to edit videos, to take photos. I learned on the go. I got the tools, learned through YouTube, learned through manuals, and I figured it out. And I was fortunate enough to have a team of people that I got to work with who brought different skills, and we made things happen. But on the career front, 9 to 5, paying the bills, I think the opportunities when granted or when you have to study, I would definitely recommend to study. Mostly because there's knowledge that just gives a different theoretical approach to thinking and problem solving. So I am a strategist by trade, and creative strategy in particular. And because the degree, while it can give you the information, unfortunately, the game also works that you need the experience to close the loop. So it definitely is one of those that I feel is important for foundational purposes, but that's not to say that you can't get into it through jobs and acquiring the skill sets. So from graduate programs, learnerships, internships, and then working your way through that. But it is a difficult pathway, a difficult journey, just in terms of the reality that, especially going into the corporate space in marketing, often having the degree is your entry into. But more and more as companies evolve, they are looking for unique talent, and that may not always be through the degree that you have. However, some do require that a degree of sorts be there. So yeah, so it's just to ensure that you tick that box of your foundation, but also ensuring that you've almost got your master key to get in. But what will elevate you in the roles that you'll have and the experiences that you'll get is definitely going to be what you're learning on the ground as you're navigating your job day to day.
Okay, so according to Nwabisa, who is in the marketing and advertising industry as a 9 to 5, but she's still an incredible content creator on the side, she says, listen, a degree gets you through the door. It's an opportunity, it's a foundation of sorts, but the experiences you have in your life are what really close the loop and what make you a unique and oftentimes what progresses you in this industry. Now moving on to the film and media industry, an industry that I am in, that Lesego is in, and one where we often wonder if a degree is really necessary. Now I actually have an incredible director. His name is Melt van der Spey, and he has a company called Multimedia, I believe. And he has a TV show that was recently nominated for a SAFTA Award for Best International Show. He was the director and DOP on that, so congrats, Melt. We hope you get it. This is what he had to say.
At first, I wanted to say, no, it's not necessary for you to have a creative education or an education in a creative area that you want to do, because I don't have one. I don't think anyone in the production company that I first worked for has an education in the creative area that they went in or that they were practicing in. So I didn't study to become a director, cameraman, camera operator, or producer, or sound person. I just started doing this. But this was because a lot of opportunities were afforded to me in this one company that I worked in. I don't have a formal education in this area, but I do have tertiary education behind my name, which is a degree in psychology, philosophy, and yeah, I ended up doing education, working with people confronted with these types of choices every day. And you have to be confronted with this at a very young age. At 15, you choose subjects in South Africa, and then at 18, you need to choose what you study. And it's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people telling you what to do. And the simple answer to this is no one really knows. You have to do what's right for you. If you can't afford to go and study, but don't make it the be-all and end-all of your education. Know that there are other routes to explore once you're done with education. Commit yourself to a lifelong learning mantra and exercise that. If someone gives you an opportunity to do something that you've never done before, never considered before, do it. And out of everything you can learn. I came from a BA background, and that's perspective and being a better empath. When someone forces you to do things over and over again till you get it right their way, you learn something in that process. When you choose an informal education and you watch YouTube videos, no one really forces you to complete that course. And that's something that education does really well. It drives across, it forces you to confront those problems and solve it.
I find it interesting that he says that in the production company that he worked for, nobody had a degree in the creative field. Now, that doesn't mean that they did not have a degree at all. And what I really enjoyed about that conversation as well, he said that the University of YouTube and online doesn't give you that intense training that you often get at school and on the job. So that's definitely something to think about with the University of Online and with the University of YouTube. So sometimes you really do need a high pressure area to really bring out the best in you. Now, next up we have Christine van Dinkter. Now, this is a contact from my amazing sister, and Christine, is currently working at Vogue Arabia in Dubai. I always thought that a journalism degree is like a driver's license. Easy to study and achieve, but it's only once you're out on your own in the real world do you then realize, wow, I'm not adequately prepared for this truck coming my way. No classroom in the world can prepare you for on-the-job experience of journalism. The egos, the hours, the mundanity, the constant hustling, the zero money. You also can't learn raw talent. You either have it or you don't. She goes on to say the best learning school is being a junior in a newsroom with a tough editor. The second best learning school is studying other journalists and the media. Read about them and their craft and learn how the industry works. So while having a journalism or other specialist degree is not, in my opinion, a prerequisite of working in media, I do think it's important to have some kind of formal education in order to learn academic rigor and discipline, to cultivate curiosity about diversity of subjects, and to try and fail and try in low-stakes environments. Study widely, not narrowly. Open yourself up to other ideas and criticism. Read quality words, not just new ones. Don't be precious about your own. Find and study mentors. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Curiosity, humility, and an extraordinary work ethic will get your foot in the door. Then the real work starts. I like that. My grandfather kind of told me the same thing when I got my driver's license. He was like, congratulations, you got your driver's license. Now you're going to learn how to drive. That is probably one of the best analogy I've gotten so far. That great, you've gotten your degree. Now you really learn. Next up, I have the amazing podcaster and entrepreneur Mash, known for his podcast, Mash Startup, as well as his podcast network, Lochka Africa.
To becoming a podcaster, content creator, and like basically just overall building stuff for the internet in order to make money. And that sort of non-traditional path is now becoming the normal path, which is you go on to the biggest university in the world, which is the University of YouTube, where you pay absolutely nothing to learn about anything in the world at the pace that you want to and for as long as you want to and as deeply as you want to. But I do think that there's an important part for education to enable people to think differently, to arm themselves with information and tactics and like just mental models in order to really find different answers and solutions to different problems. And I think that's where the role of education really plays a big part in a person's life, is really arming them with a certain level of knowledge and understanding and level of real, just like an ability to think differently and deeply about certain topics. So I definitely think there's a place for both, but I genuinely recommend that everyone go to the biggest university in the world, which is the University of YouTube.
Next up, we have Nondikane, and this is what she has to say. I think there is always value in structured learning, but in the same way that you would pick the right institution and course, it is important to investigate if we have any structured learning that can support the creative career opportunities in the African landscape from an African point of view. I love that. And I think that's probably what I feel like is missing the most. A structure for creative opportunities that actually speaks to the landscape in Africa that we are in. The fact that we can't spend an insane amount on university. The fact that experience, mentorship, graduate schools, apprenticeship is so valuable, and that really can be done through internships, through shadowing, and through opportunities like that. That, I think, is what's really missing. That is what I personally feel needs more emphasis on. To wrap things up, I've got Larissa Elliott, and this is what she has to say. I am very for African youth studying for a career in the commercial creative space, if they can afford it, or access to opportunities to do so. Studying introduces them to more than just the critical thinking skills and methods to execute creative work. It can open them up to connections and collaborations with fellow creatives, networking to kickstart and push their career further, and to tools they would not have access to by themselves. It's also a solid foundation for them to develop their own unique style. And I think that's where the hesitation comes in. Education should not be the mold for them to fit into. It should be the platform on which they build upon. I feel like that's the perfect way to end some of these thoughts by people who are actively working and succeeding in the creative field. So after speaking to all these amazing people within the creative space, this is my final thoughts. Again, I'd love to know what you think. Comment section down below. Don't forget to give this video a like, but here's what I have to say. Personally, I wasn't sure if I would advocate for somebody to go to university to get a degree within the creative space. I've seen so many people succeed without it and in spite of it. But after having conversations with the incredible people that I've had, these are a few things that I've taken to heart. It's good to have some kind of foundation by being part of a structured learning. Now, if you cannot afford to go to a higher-end institution like a UCT, a Vega, a AAA, or any of those, that's perfectly fine. Find an EFT, a college that you can go to get yourself through the door. Because the majority of the work comes in the experience, comes in the doing, comes in the tenacity and the curiosity to go and learn. People who have gotten the best of degrees, sometimes it doesn't really help them if they don't actually go out and pursue it, go out and practically learn, which is so vital. There is no denying that university has so much to offer. From meeting people, diverse people. I personally lived in the Eastern Cape, in Umtata, really small town. And moving to Cape Town enlarged my way of thinking. I made incredible friends from all over the world, and conversations with them really opened me up. But I also was active at varsity. I was part of the SRC. I did so many clubs and this and that. And that's what I would recommend for somebody going into an institution. Take advantage of the entire experience, from meeting people, from shadowing and learning from lecturers, really great ones that you admire, from resources, from societies and clubs and opportunities and programs, international programs and fellowships. Take advantage as much as possible, because just leaving with a degree, I don't think it's worth the amount of money that you pay for it. But the experience as a whole, now we might be talking. That probably is more an even value-wise, it's more an even playing field. And as long as you understand that a degree is really just the foundation, you still need years to build upon through practical knowledge, through internships, through learning from people in the industry. That, in my opinion, is the key. You need a variety of experiences to succeed in this world, so go and get them. Enjoy it. Don't be limited to think that your degree will open all the doors for lots of money. That's not gonna happen. Experience things, go do things, be adventurous. If somebody in your industry gives you an opportunity, take it. There is no doubt that education is vital. There's resources online, utilize them. So, even though university costs a lot of money, I would still recommend it. To be honest, at the beginning of this experience, I didn't think I would say that. But in hindsight, after the conversations with people, I would. Because even if you study something that is not in the creative space, there's a very high chance that it will still benefit you in one way or another in the creative space. There is advantages to learning. There's advantages to going after your dreams and constantly learning through the journey that you experience. So that's it from me. I want to know what you think. Comment section down below. Would you recommend somebody to go to university? But if you cannot afford it, I would recommend shadowing somebody, being an incredible apprentice. Most people who are spectacular in their field generally shadowed or worked under somebody else who was fantastic in their field. That, for me, that's the key. All right, that's it for me. Let me know if you like this video. It's something new, something different. But I would really love to know your thoughts. And again, thank you to every single person who shared their thoughts. There's some incredible, incredible creatives in this video. Until next time, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, give this video a like, and I will see you in our next video. Bye.